Hello and welcome to Inside Grand Prix. Today, everything on Bahrain and a driver seeking to make a point there.
Now is the right time.
Plus, an initial stock take after 3 races.
Have some things to do.
And Inside Grand Prix discovers lost recordings of Ayrton Senna. And we begin with our feature on country and customs. Welcome to Bahrain. Manama, Bahrain's capital and best-known city. Around 155,000 people live here. In the middle of the desert, 27 kilometers away, is the Bahrain International Circuit, now visited by the Formula One teams for 11 years already.
We started in 2004. Maybe the first year they didn't know what to expect, but they came and all of a sudden I have cousins and aunts and all of them saying, you know, Alonso and all of the famous drivers and all of that are coming, and the whole region has begun to live Formula One.
The stable weather provides perfect conditions for testing, now banned outside Europe. The first, however, to test here back then, in 2005, BMW Williams. 2 years later, the Red Bull family were then speeding around the track to prepare for the new season. By 2014, it was just Red Bull left, giving wings to their cars around the circuit's corners. Formula One fascinates Bahrain, as does all speed.
For us, it's something in our blood. I think if you look at our hobbies, speed has always been part of it. Horses, falcons. It's very interesting, and I think it's part of us. We are very passionate about motorsports. And that's why we have this great facility here. We had the first motor federation in 1952. And so we're one of the first countries in the region to have motorsports events.
Which are staged all year round. Construction of the race facility was of national interest, and numerous motorsport events are held here. One example, dragsters. They thunder across the asphalt with up to 10,000 horsepower.
We wanted a track that if you saw for a split second on TV, you would say, ah, that's Bahrain. And so you see the tent-like structure on the main grandstand. It's a racetrack that has our traditions, it has our values, but it's a modern Formula One racetrack.
As the sun goes, F1 is coming to Bahrain. And now, all good things come in threes. Felipe Massa, back on track, fighting for his place in the sun, Bahrain. He's already had 2 wins here. Now he wants the 3rd and has an outside chance, as since 2014 it's been going well with Williams.
Felipe has had an incredible year, really. You know, maybe at the beginning, the middle of the season, he was still finding his feet in the team. I think he's more content than I've ever seen him in his career.
The start of last season, problems and bad luck. Then he took off, better than for many a year. From Texas on, he drove as if unleashed. The Brazilian was competing again at the very top.
I didn't have good luck in the first part of the season, but I managed to get in the podium, so it was a great feeling.
Felipe, the name means friend of horses, which is fitting as he's good with them, having driven for 8 years for pedigree Italian stable Ferrari. 2008, his best year, runner-up for the title. At the 2009 Hungarian Grand Prix, a turning point. A steel spring from Barrichello's car hits his head with great force. After that, he was shaded out by others. In 2014, the switch to Williams did good for both.
I was, passing through my career in a difficult moment, and Williams was also on a difficult moment. And I think maybe, together we managed to grow again.
Naturally, family man Massa feels at home at the Williams family business. The stable's smell suits the thoroughbred.
So I think Williams was the team that improved most from the first to the last race. So we need to keep doing the same. We need to try to do even better compared to what we did in 2014.
Veteran Frank Williams is to him more than just team principal.
Like a legend, you know, for me, and I always wanted to race for him.
Also part of the Williams family, wife Rafaela and young son Felipe Jr., who also has a liking for horsepower.
He really loves cars and racing. He has a lot of little cars that he's playing around my room in the track, you know. So he knows the name of most of the drivers. He knows the numbers of the drivers as well. So you see, who is this? He says straight away the name of the driver, which team he is. I think he knows everything, you know, so he's learning pretty quickly.
Like father, like son, Massa genes need the smell of petrol.
My father just brought me to try the go-kart, and then when I drove the first time, I was sure I want to be a Formula 1 driver, or a racing driver, you know. And so when I drove for the first time my go-kart, I was sure what I wanted.
The relationship with teammate Valtteri Bottas is good. The competition healthy, collaboration on an equal footing.
Very much enjoying being a teammate with Felipe. It's been the cooperation between us been really good. He's got a lot of experience from the past, so that always helps.
The time is ripe. The old Felipe is back. For too long, the water carrier, just the number 2. Now, he's at a crossroads. Continue in the shade? Or back into the sun?
It was definitely a good start, and I hope now is the right time.
For his Bahrain attack, for all good things come in threes. Status quo after race 3. Losers and winners of the season so far. I still need to eke out a bit more.
Lost in the middle of the field. Have some things to do.
Up till now, it's very, very positive.
I don't think there are any predictions.
Correct. But since Malaysia, one thing's for sure. There's a blot on the silver copybook, and it's red. Finally, a worthy Mercedes opponent. Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari are on the attack. Since the introduction of the new turbo engines and an exceptionally successful Mercedes season, it seemed they no longer had any serious rivals. At the first race alone, Melbourne, gaping silver dominance. Not even Rosberg's prophetized revenge on his teammates seemed to be working. The first warning sign, 3 times podium for Vettel. In just the second race, his first win for his new team. Ferrari back on track with Seb. At last, action again. Everyone's currently very motivated, very committed to wrestling the rudder around and moving forwards again. Last season, the Silver Arrows failed to win 3 races. Each time, the smiling winner was Daniel Ricciardo and Red Bull. The team, and especially Renault, don't seem quite up to it this year. In the constructors' standings, only 1 point ahead of their own junior team. The former table topper now in 5th place. It's even being rumoured that top bull Mateschitz may want to sell both teams and go into Formula 1 promotion. The soft drinks maker seems to have run out of energy. Energy that McLaren Honda doesn't yet have. A new era, an historic milestone, said the team before the season began. But even in testing, there were big doubts. The first few races, evidence of a fairly serious catastrophe. The 2 top drivers reduced to places 16 and 17 in the table. It's easy to feel sorry for Alonso especially. Sidelined in Melbourne due to an accident in testing, then both drivers out early in Malaysia. Nevertheless, everything is always patiently glossed over.
I'm here to win, but not to win the first day. I'm here to win in a long-term relationship. So if we need to go through a period of understanding and a period of learning how this new era of Formula 1 is working, I'm here for that, and I'm committed to work together with the team to wait for our moment.
Nothing new at Lotus. A shame, actually, as in testing the team was still up with the best. The new Mercedes engine should also put some proper momentum into the car. But 6 points and failures to finish are the story so far, with Crash Kid Maldonado living up to his nickname. At the start of the season, Lotus were actually seen as a top 5 candidate. There's still time to live up to that. Perhaps by just following Williams' example. There have been no surprises here. At least, no nasty ones. The suits for the PR stunt, the good performance of fact. Despite Bottas missing Melbourne due to a back injury, the team's defending its bronze medal position in the standings. Good pace and good drivers, podium finishers definitely soon in sight. Good restart too for Sauber. The team finished last season with a below-grade 0 points. Now they're ahead of Toro Rosso and Red Bull. A great performance. The general overhaul has paid off. Debutant Nasser in particular is catching the eye, finishing 5th in his first race. Thumbs up for more of the same. Off now onto the social net, to Facebook, Twitter and co. Stress at the top. Post-China, there's new beef between the stars. Nico lets off steam.
It's just now interesting to hear from you, Lewis, that you were just thinking about yourself with the pace in front, and necessarily that was compromising my race.
Mocked on social media, then calming words in his blog as Nico answers fans' questions.
Smoothly. Well, it was definitely intense after the race, but we had a very good sit-down, a good discussion. There was a lot of constructive criticism, and now for everybody, it's a thing of the past, and we're moving on to Bahrain.
Lewis, laid back as ever, standing on celebrities' feet, his hobby, highest profile victim, Bill Clinton.
I stood really heavily on someone's foot. I turned back and it's Bill Clinton. And I didn't even apologize, I just kept going.
Another who kept going, the Crash King, with unusual backing. The page set up especially for him, which otherwise winds him up, comes to his defense. The crash doesn't count, the world is safe. Bahrain. The next sandstorm is coming, and without doubt the next deluge of online fury. We'll keep on top of it. Time for a quick pit stop. Then a sensation, rediscovered recordings of Ayrton Senna, and a Finn aiming for the podium in Bahrain. Don't go away. Inside Grand Prix begins its second stint, including the latest news ahead of the race in Bahrain. Now, Ayrton Senna and the lost tape. It's a story of sources thought lost and recordings found again, of an inexperienced journalist and a boy from Sao Paulo with broken English, away from the big media world.
Go-kart here in Europe, in the important race, is more competitive than Formula 4. Have more frames, more engines, more tires, special tires. You see the level is more high than Formula 4 cars.
Ayrton Senna, practically the only driver who moves F1 fans all over the world. To this day, 20 years after his tragic death, a legend with 3 world champion titles and 41 wins in 161 races. Moments that he recorded from the very start. Formula One photographer Keith Sutton.
Well, the story goes back to 1981 when I was in my second year of motorsport photography, and I just met Ayrton Senna da Silva. He contacted me and then I started working for him as his photographer.
Today, Keith Sutton has long been one of motorsport's most renowned journalists. His Senna shots, legendary, triumphs captured for eternity. After success at home, Senna moved in 1981 to England, where he raced go-karts and in parallel in British Formula Ford for the Van Diemen team. An Italian magazine became aware of the 20-year-old Brazilian and asked Sutton to get an interview.
So I went and sat in the back of his Alfa, in the front of his Alfa Sud, and I did this interview with him. Well, a little bit after that, what happened is, very sadly, I lost the tape recorder with the tape in it. Well, that's what I thought.
His career continued, and with it, Ayrton Senna's triumphal march in the 80s, until the drama of 1994. The fans' adoration, however, remained undying, and Sutton preserved his friend's legacy in exhibitions. Then, suddenly...
You know, last year was the anniversary, 20-year anniversary of Ayrton's death in Imola. And I wanted to find some of the old letters that Ayrton used to write to me. And I was in the loft, searching through all these boxes, and then I found a little tape, a little cassette, and there it was. The lost tape, the interview with Ayrton Senna back in 1981, in June 81, before anybody had interviewed him or heard about him. And I was so excited, you know, about this tape.
Audio record, thought lost, and now discovered again. Fascinating contemporary recordings from an icon's early days. Formula Ford rookie, hard graft, ambitions, and being away from home.
Do you do a lot of testing, Stetson?
Yes,
yeah.
yes, I'm doing many tests in the Van Diemen car. We are trying every week to develop as much as we can. To have conditions to change Formula 3 next year, I must have very good reasons all the season to make very good publicity and fun sponsor.
What do you
my family like go-kart, not cars, because cars, I need to come here in England, live all the year. I'm so far from family. You see, to live in England is not so good to relationship, you see, between family members.
Right.
The rest is motorsport history. Keith Sutton experienced it close up, part of it sensationally rediscovered with these recordings. Something he, like millions of fans worldwide, will never forget. The days of the great Ayrton Senna da Silva. And now, our preview of the Bahrain International Circuit.
Welcome to the Bahrain International Circuit. The desert race. Last year we had the best race here actually, in between me and Nico, battling for first place, back and forth, overtaking. It's a great circuit. It's a circuit that's quite new. It was the first time last year that we had the night race there, which made it even more exceptional.
So here we are on the straight DRS. Off DRS, braking heavily into turn 1, which is very tight down into first, second gear. And pulling the exit punts very quick into second and to third. Powering all the way down to turn 4. Again, braking quite heavily, but you hit the apex and then the track starts to drop away from you, so it's very difficult to get back to power.
But this circuit's all about having confidence in the tyres, because it is so hot. You've got to push, but you've also got to look after your car. It's short shifting, it's lifting, coasting where you can. You've got to enjoy it at the same time though.
Again, uphill, down 9 and 10, it's quite tricky.
Braking for that corner is very tricky, because you're coming up the hill and you're braking down whilst turning, which the car doesn't like. So that means that you've got more weight on one side of the car, and it means the inside wheel is always going to lock up. So you really have to move around the brake balance. It's a corner you want to maximize on the braking, but you don't want to compromise the exit.
Up the hill into 12, try to take flat out, braking into 13. It's a very late apex, really important to get on the power. Usually the tyres are quite hot by then. Fly out down into turn 14. Hit the apex at 15. Again, really nice long straight afterwards, so important to get the exit and back onto the DRS. Perfect place to overtake it. That's the lap of Bahrain.
So that's it from me. Keep your fingers crossed for the Bahrain race.
Now to the latest standings. In the drivers' table, Sebastian Vettel still parks his red Ferrari between the two silver arrows of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. In the team standings, we welcome Red Bull back into the top 5. They push their junior team out of 5th place. With his second fastest lap, Lewis Hamilton is taking the lead in the DHL Fastest Lap Award. Will Nico Rosberg be able to fight back in Bahrain? Sebastian Vettel's leading the DHL Pit Stop Challenge. In China, nobody was quicker than the Scuderia Ferrari. He has been on the podium in Bahrain 6 times already. Who actually is this Kimi?
So, is it important for you how the public image of you is?
No.
That's how he is. The Iceman, self-confident, self-assured, and assuredly always himself. And this season, now finally one of the faster drivers again. The cool Finn. In face-to-face interview, anything but cold and aloof. That's perhaps down to his latest challenge. At the start of the year, Kimi and girlfriend Mintu became the thrilled parents of a baby boy. Let's stay on the subject of family and its significance to the 35-year-old.
I guess you learn most of the things in life from the people that you're closest and your family, and they always look after you and obviously be behind you whatever you do. And it's not always been easy, but that's how life goes. And I mean, they've been always helping me and supporting.
So, on holiday, what's a perfect day for you?
When I can do my own things, whatever it is, you know, just being at home or doing, going cycling or, you know, just normal things is, for me, is enough to relax. Or if I go and do motocross and, you know, it's just doing something that you enjoy.
What does luxury mean to you?
I'm not so much into the things that I have to show off, or I have this or I have that, and you know, obviously some things I want that is in the right order, and some things makes your life easier and stuff like that. But the rest, you know, as long as I'm happy with the things, even if it costs €5, I'm happy with it. So that's the main thing, you know. It's not always that the most expensive things are the best things and stuff like that, you know. As long as I have a good place to live and life as I want, then that's enough for me.
Your verdict so far, was it right to return to Ferrari?
Yeah, I think it was definitely the best option that I had, and obviously last time when I was with Ferrari I won, and people always think that we had some fight afterwards when I left Ferrari, but that's not really how things went. But obviously you guys, all the newspapers, they write what they think, and unfortunately not often they know exactly how things are, but that's how it goes. And I never really had any bad feelings what happened in the past, and obviously I got offered a deal, and I thought that was the only right decision to come back with them.
Did winning the title in 2007 change you at all?
I don't think it really changed my life. People just probably look you differently or write different stories, because at least they stop questioning if you ever gonna win or not. But obviously it was something that I really wanted for many years, and I still want to win it. I was very happy to achieve something, especially with the team like Ferrari. I was first here with them, and it was something special. I mean, Ferrari is Ferrari in the end.
And finally, the motto you live by.
If you try to be something that you are not, then obviously it's not going to work for long very well. I mean, I don't think you will enjoy your life if you just try to make other people happy and don't do what you feel is the right thing for yourselves.
And that's how he is, the Iceman. Self-confident, self-assured, and assuredly always himself. Here's the news. 3 races, 3 drivers. In China too, Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel shared the podium. Since the start of the season, it's only been these 3 up there, unique in the history of Formula One. For first place Lewis Hamilton, it was the 35th Grand Prix win of his career and the 4th in China, also something no other driver has done before. The world champion right on course for the title. His teammate, by contrast, eternally second.
The worst part of the weekend was losing out to Lewis in qualifying. That compromised me most. And it was those 400s, you know, so definitely, and that's my, you know, it's all down to me to be those 500s quicker next time.
Incredible but true. Pastor Maldonado did the fastest time in China, despite failing to finish in 3 races. The Wild 13 and his Lotus team managed the fastest pit stop of all, but only for repairs. There was no change of tyres, which is no easy task, by the way.
To do an actual pit stop and a change of 4 tyres in 2.5 seconds means that you have to get ready and be prepared, and that only comes along with a lot of practice.
The best of the rest, by the way, Romain Grosjean, with P7 finally a sign of life again and points for Lotus. The hardest braking point on the Bahrain International Circuit is approaching turn 1. After the long straight, the driver has to brake down hard, decelerating by 267 kilometers per hour over just 158 meters inside 1.77 seconds. 2,211 kilowatts of power are released in the process. The driver's subjected to 5.2 G, while having to push with 155 kilograms down onto the brake. That's all for today. The next Formula One race takes place in Europe, in Spain. But first, we hope you have an exciting time watching the race in Bahrain.